And what up, everybody? Welcome back to Feral Publications YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about zines and DIY publishing. And I have in my hands the Content Cipher, an IP handbook by Ellie Reyes. And this zine is a must-read for all creatives. We are gonna get into this, but first, Feral Comics is the comic book zine anthology that I publish. This is filled with underground subversive comics by different cartoonists from all kinds of places. We are always looking for new contributors and do pay for contributions. Also, new readership, $20 for 1 year subscription or $3 for an issue. So as always, if you guys are interested in the zines I make, there will be a link in the show notes connecting you to that. But today let's talk about the Content Cipher. And there's two portions of this zine that I really want to read, and this is the first page. And I feel that in a nutshell, this tells you what the zine is and who it's for. Creativity and capitalism. I want to make, but I also want to eat. Is that too much to ask? Literally every creative ever. And here it is. The ultimate goal of intellectual property is to incentivize innovation. If you're reading this, you've probably made something kind of cool enough that maybe you want to show it off a bit, cool enough to make you some money even. Nicely done. You contributed to culture. Although distribution methods, mediums, and messages change with times, there's one thing that's consistent: the people who made them. They put the work in. They should get the payout, right? Right. However, the reality of the situation is a lot more complex than just that. Creativity and innovation are both processes that build on prior knowledge and access to resources. Our current intellectual property legislation is built around protecting the owner of the IP, but is yet to adapt to the collaborative nature of modern creative practices, much less the information revolution brought about by the internet. Of course, creators should be able to protect and profit from their work, but a standard copyright no longer fits the bill. From corporate lobbying, freezing the public domain, to video-based social platform infringement doxing, there's a lot going on in regards to IP law. This zine attempts to condense the terminology and provide a general overview of the various aspects of IP, but should not be taken as legal advice. You gotta know the rules to break the rules, and this is a shorthand to simplify the learning processes. If creativity is the driver of culture, IP law is the seatbelt. Buckle up, buckaroo, it's a bumpy ride. So there you go, you guys. That's pretty much this intro page. Explains to you what this zine is. Love the aesthetic, this cut and paste. So like the formatting of it is very, very tight. It is a very general overlook. Like a lot of this is one page. I think this is a great introductory. Like if you really are getting deep into publishing your own stuff and you really want to understand the do's and don'ts in a very general way, and kind of like the same way when you would read kind of like the cliff notes of a book, and then you would go to different chapters. I feel like this works a lot in the same way, in that it kind of gives you ideas that you are maybe not very knowledgeable on, but you think applies to you in the art you're making, and then you'll go ahead, right? So patents, trademark. Trademark is a symbol, word, color, short, slogan, or even smell that has been legally registered to represent a company, brand, or product. I remember when I got my trademark, the official hot dog of Los Angeles. Dirt Dog, the official hot dog of Los Angeles, was a trademark that I got. And a lot of the trademark stuff is actually a lot easier than I think people realize. It really just means, are you the first one to claim it? And then if no one argues against you claiming it, they usually just give it to you. But it does cost money, and I didn't see that here. So some of the monetary stuff I think is missing. So once again, it's a great intro to a lot of these ideas, but it's definitely not an end-all be-all. And like he says here, should not be taken as legal advice. One of the things that I thought was cool was I always love when things are interactive, right? So scan for menu, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So here we are, opening it up on the camera, going to the little QR code, and so tight, man, because like I said, like this is very interactive, and it's one of those things that if you need more information on certain things, guess what? The homie Ellie has provided you that information. Here you go. Here's the website, the Content Cipher, and IP handbook, resources with the links already put in place, right? A little more information, featured bibliography. That's amazing, man. That's so much work and effort that was put into this, and it's really just to help other creatives. So thank you so much, Ellie. right? Public domain. I thought this page was very interesting and something, like I said, any creative person that's making right now really needs to read about public domains, Creative Commons. I'm not a big NFT guy, but something for you to read too. I feel like that's a pretty popular topic at the moment. Licensing, permission to party, rights of licensor, fair use, a legal defense, which a lot of underground comics have used this a lot, and so I'm going to read it real quick. Fair use is a legal doctrine that promotes freedom of expression by permitting the unlicensed use of copyright protected works in certain circumstances. What determines a fair use? Ultimately, a judged fair use is a defense, not permission. Copyright infringement is evaluated on 4 factors: purpose and character, nature, amount, market effect. Accepted uses, education, parody, which is what most underground cartoonists have gotten away with, using a parody of the version of the actual, comic or character that we're bootlegging. News, commentary, and criticism. That's another one that we get away with a lot because, we talk a lot of shit about a lot of the mainstream shit, right? And so, yeah, man, this is all fucking tight. And I wanted to read this right here, zines and remix theory, because I thought that was very interesting as well. Every zine's a remix. Zines. A zine is a small circulation, self-published work of original or appropriate text and images, usually reproduced through a copy machine. Zines have a rich history deeply rooted in subcultures and are the embodiment of DIY culture. This booklet is a zine. Remix theory. The ideology that all creative processes are the result of a loop of selectivity and appropriation, that nothing is truly original. If culture is dependent on the refining of the ideas around us, our legal structure should be one that rewards the author while putting aside idea back into the public domain after a reasonable amount of time. As you've hopefully learned while reading through these pages, IP law affects us in the everyday, sometimes for the better and at times for the worse. However, we've done the research, built the tools, and established the communication network necessary to meet creators where they are and hopefully pave the road to where they could go. What is this zine trying to say is, learn the terms, stand your ground, pay it forward. Right? Only cannibalism unites us, socially, economically, and philosophically. A remix manifesto. Disclaimer: this zine is for educational uses and should not be taken as legal advice. I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm claiming fair use against MGM. Right? Zines are meant to be shared. And here it is. The handles and the website, which will be in the show notes for you guys to go ahead and link up with the creator. Because once again, this zine, hella tight, worth the read. Everyone should get a copy and peep this out. Thank you so much to Ellie for making this. Hella appreciate it.